Alright, time for some squad story time. Let's set the scene. This happened during the playtest. Unfortunately, I had not recorded any footage. This is me piecing together the sequence of events from memory and my perspective. It was Advanced and Secure, Manicougan was the map, and we were Red 4. The attack objective at the time was Checkpoint, and Squad 3, led by an SL named Cody, had set up a rally on the southeast end and had started to creep closer to the objective. I had arrived shortly after with my squad to the northeast and dropped a rally and had my men started moving closer through the forest, while I had the Tiger move parallel west by the road. Once both squads were in position, I had all units provide suppressive fire by the edge of the northeastern forest. In turn, Cody had his men fire and maneuver to assault the objective. Once I had noticed that Cody's men had reached the walls, we had the Tigger make a drive-by and deployed the smoke launchers. It provided concealment for my fire team to assault the northeastern fortification, leaving behind the rest to continue providing cover. This was a textbook example of what we want to happen in squad. To fire and maneuver, have some superior firepower as far as the enemy had at the time. The engagement felt around 3 to 5 minutes, though honestly at the time it felt shorter with how much stuff was going on. However, a minute or two after capping, we suddenly started taking fire from multiple directions. And the men I left by the northeastern forest started taking casualties. Furthermore, a helo started providing close air support and somehow managed to take out the Tigger gunner during the first pass. That chopper gunner was pretty good, as he was somehow quite accurate, and together with the suppression, made it hard to engage the contacts moving in. Also, this version of WA Tactics didn't have a helo marker, so this drawing will have to make do. Ultimately, we were booted off the objective back to our respective rallies and were in turn being aggressively pushed by the enemies. The enemy QRF was able to wipe out Cody's squad in a few minutes, and soon shortly after repositioning my squad's rally closer, we started getting concentrated enemy fire and were steadily being crept on. Knowing how this song and dance goes, it was time to displace. I took my medic with me and tasked the rest of my squad to entrench and delay for as long as they could so that we could reposition. We had successfully evaded the encirclement and displaced the rally a bit north by northwest of the objective, while the enemy was securing the northeastern forest. During that time, the helo had likely RTB'd and managed to miss us. The squad had respawned and we began another assault from the high ground this time. We had managed to get pretty close. However, the enemy responded swiftly, and unfortunately the terrain did not provide much room to maneuver. I was taken out a few minutes after. During that time, Cody was making preparations to helo drop south of the objective, and in turn I advised I would deploy HAB with a mortar close to our rally to provide additional support and task my men to skirmish along the mountainside and keep them away from the rally area. The commander chimed in and agreed to dedicate a gun run to target the HAB inside checkpoint. To my dismay, the only Logi available was the tracked Logi version of AMTLB. Good news was my squad was able to successfully deter the enemies from coming up the mountain, and Cody and his men had landed south of the objective and was moving into the AO. My squad continued to skirmish with the enemy, and I started construction for the HAB, ammo crate, and a mortar tube, while Cody dropped his rally and once again started moving on to the objective. Somewhere along the way, a random scout car had entered the fray to provide additional support. In a stroke of good fortune, my men had managed to advance further down the mountainside, and Cody's squad was in position. I radioed Cody that the mortar tubes were ready to provide smoke fire mission. The commander had called in a gun run It was on objective, however, it did not directly hit the enemy hab, and they were able to rebuild it quickly. My squad and the scout car had started to rain fire from the mountains while I begun my smoke fire mission to allow Cody and his men to get closer. Smoke was on point and the third assault was on. We were making good progress, and somewhere along the way, the scout car was totaled. But we were taking the objective once again, and that blasted helo decided to fly by in again. However, this time, without ground units, it was not as effective anymore, and was ultimately shut down. Finally. We secured the point, and while we were waiting for the flag capture, the game ended. It was 8-0. I can only imagine what the fighting was like back at the defense point. Of course, it was 8-0 in our favor. So it was a pleasure coordinating with you, Squad Leader Cody. May we meet in the battlefield once again.